Good morning, you are watching NEWSi 24/7. Today's headlines are: Kabul gives deserted look after two deadly blasts. Local media reports 170 casualties, 200 injuries after two deadly blasts on Thursday. Kabul, capital of Afghanistan, Friday gave a deserted look as there was no traffic on roads and markets were closed. Khatib and Juma congregations prayed for eternal peace of the departed souls, and early recovery of the injured. They prayed for peace and stability in the war-ravaged country, and unity among all the ranks of Afghans to work for progress and prosperity of the country. According to health officials, the dead and injured of the two powerful blasts were brought to various hospitals. Majority of the wounded persons were died on their way to hospitals, whereas the condition of some wounded was stated to be critical. The Afghan Health Ministry officials said the death toll had risen to over 100, including 28 Taliban, who were performing their duty outside the airport, while the United States Commerce military said 13 of its service members were killed and 18 injured. More than 50 wounded were being treated in various hospitals where a state of emergency had been declared, they added. As per local media, at least 170 Afghan were killed, and 200 wounded in Kabul explosions. A health official expressing his anonymity said among 170 dead, 34 were male including 2 boys, and 32 men, and 4 were female, including 1 girl and 3 women. This said the identities of 132 other people, yet to be ascertained at this stage. Earlier, the World Health Organization regional headquarters in Cairo had reported that at least 161 Afghan civilians died in the Kabul blasts. WHO said 145 dead bodies were brought in Wazir Akbar Khan Hospital, while the emergency hospital also reported 16 deaths on arrival. UNSC condemns Kabul airport attack as especially abhorrent. The United Nations Security Council, UNSC, Friday condemned, in strongest terms, a deadly attack at Kabul's airport as especially abhorrent for targeting civilians trying to leave Afghanistan after the Taliban came to power, and people helping with the evacuation. The members of the Security Council condemned in the strongest terms all instances of terrorism and deliberate attacks against civilians. They recalled that all parties must respect their obligations under international humanitarian law in all circumstances, including those related to the protection of civilians, the 15-member council said in a statement. Deliberately targeting civilians and personnel assisting in the evacuation of civilians is especially abhorrent and must be condemned, the statement added. The Kabul airport attack on Thursday, which killed 13 United States troops and at least 79 Afghans, was claimed by ISIS Khorasan, which has emerged as enemies of both the West and of the Taliban. Tens of thousands of people have been leaving Afghanistan since the Taliban came to power as foreign forces withdraw. The UNSC called on all relevant parties to respect and facilitate the safe evacuation of civilians. The Council also reiterated the importance of combating terrorism in Afghanistan to ensure the territory of Afghanistan should not be used to threaten or attack any country, and that no Afghan group or individual should support terrorists operating on the territory of any country. United Nations, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is convening a meeting on Monday on Afghanistan with the UN envoys for Britain, France, the United States, China and Russia, the Council's permanent, veto-wielding members. Pakistan ranks top 10 in improvement of business environment, report. The annual report on investment security of China's Belt and Road Construction, 2021, was jointly released by China Belt and Road think tank Cooperation Alliance, Beijing International Studies University, and other institutions. The report puts forward the fruits of researches on the political, economic, social, cultural, and ecological investment security in countries along the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. According to the report, Pakistan has reformed to simplify the process of starting a company and obtaining a construction permit, implementing a series of preferential policies in recent years. These measures improved its ability to attract foreign investment and strengthened the ease of doing business year by year, making Pakistan one of the world's top 10 economies with the most improved business environment, China Economic Net, CEN, reported. In terms of political security, the report said that South Asia as a whole is greatly affected by the superpower game. China, the United States, Russia, Japan, and other countries outside the region have historical ties and practical cooperation here, which makes the geopolitical environment of South Asia complicated. The long-running conflict between India and Pakistan has also intensified pressures on political security in the region, under which the dispute over Kashmir poses a long-standing risk of war. From the perspective of economic security, Pakistan's economic security scores up by 220% in 2019, compared to 2010, showing an overall trend of growth. The construction of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor (CPEC) has greatly boosted public confidence, stimulated domestic demand, and driven production. Pakistan guest of honor at IACT Expo kicked off in Xinjiang. China-Pakistan ambassador to China Moinul Haq has said that 2021 online, China Eurasia Commodity and Trade Expo will play a positive role in deepening Pakistan-China cooperation and trade, and inject new impetus into Pakistan's cooperation with Xinjiang, China. He made these remarks while addressing a seminar titled Cloud Dialogue for Guest of Honor on Economic and Trade Projects under IACT Expo 2021. Co-hosted by Secretariat of China Eurasia Expo and Trade Development Bureau, Ministry of Commerce of China, 2021 online, China Eurasia Commodity and Trade Expo, IACT Expo 2021, kicked off in Urumqi on August 25th, with Pakistan as one of guests of honor, CEN reported. At the opening ceremony, Badiuzzaman, Commercial Counselor of Embassy of Pakistan in Beijing, said that Xinjiang Autonomous Region of China plays an important role in Pakistan-China border trade. There are more business opportunities to be spotted besides mango and citrus, said at the opening ceremony. We have got a road network between Xinjiang and the northern parts of Pakistan. Besides, on both sides of the border, we have set up bonded warehouses, which could benefit exporters and importers, Bada said, adding that the border trade between Pakistan and China through the Kunjara Pass had increased these years, after the signing of China-Pakistan Free Trade Agreement (FTA) on November 24, 2006, which came into effect in July 2007. PM for encouraging exporters to boost Pakistan's rice exports. Prime Minister Imran Khan on Friday called for encouraging the rice exporters, so that Pakistan got its maximum share in the international market, and the country's economy further stabilized. The Prime Minister expressed these views while presiding over a meeting of the National Export Development Board here. Finance Minister Shaukat Tarian, Minister for Industries and Production Makhdoom Chasro Baisha, Minister for Maritime Affairs, Said Ali Haydar-Zadi, Advisor to PM on Commerce Abdul Razak Daud, Special Assistant to PM Dr. Shahbaz Gill, top rice exporters and senior officers concerned were in attendance. The meeting was told that with vast prospects of improvement in rice exports sector, the current United States $2 billion target of rice exports could be taken to United States $5 billion by increasing the breaker production of the commodity through laser leveling of land and adopting modern means of cultivation and harvesting. Situation along Pak-Afghan border stable, measures placed to control mobility, ISP-DG. Inter-Services Public Relations, ISP. Director General Commerce, Major General Babar Iftikhar Friday said the situation along Pakistan-Afghanistan border was stable, and required measures were placed to control mobility and contain unwanted movement. He was briefing media over evolving situation in Afghanistan and implied national security risks to be faced by the country. The ISP-DG said the military situation in Afghanistan fell rather rapidly post-United States forces withdrawal when the Ashraf Ghani regime knocked down on August 15. It said Pakistan took appropriate measures to protect its side of the border, which was stable, and had controlled movement, adding, "It will have positive impact on the other side, and will try to reciprocate it on the other side." They informed that the notified crossings along Pak-Afghan border was closed, due to fluctuating situation in Afghanistan, whereas the Afghan National Army soldiers on 2 occasions sought refuge on Pakistani side. Pakistan Army has responded to their request and provided them shelter, food and safe passage to their country, they added. The ISP-DG noted that there was chance of instability on Afghan border, therefore, regular troops of Pakistan Army were deployed to ensure well-managed border security. This said other than Afghanistan, and its people Pakistanis, were the biggest victim during the Russian war, and Afghan conflict where the latter bore maximum brunt during the decades-long conflicts. Over 86,000 innocent lives have been lost in Pakistan during the war on terror, and more than billion economic losses faced by the country that are still counting, they added. Gov focusing on raising exports for strengthening economy. Razack, advisor to the Prime Minister on Commerce Abdul Razack told Friday, said his main focus was on raising exports, which would help strengthening the country's economy. He said this while addressing a press conference along with Minister for Finance Shaukat Tarian and other business leaders from the different industrial sectors. Razack said the government had fixed the target for the country's total exports at $7 billion during the current fiscal year, out of which $2 billion export target was fixed for goods, while the rest $5 billion for services sector. So far, we are on target in goods exports, while we are also hopeful to achieve the services exports target, he added. The advisor noted that at present, pressure was mounting on the country's imports, which would be controlled. He said the imports of the country were high because traditionally Pakistan always relied on trade that was not made in Pakistan. Now we are implementing the policy of made in Pakistan. The best example of which is that the number of locally manufactured mobile phones have now exceeded the phones that were imported, he added. In addition, he pointed out that the industrialization in the country was increasing because of tariff rationalization. He said the government had waived off the tariff on 50% raw material for enhancing the manufacturing of the country. He said export diversification, focusing on non-traditional sectors and increasing exports to new markets, including the African market, would not only enhance the volume of the country's exports, but would also help to achieve the export targets. Made in Pakistan is the government's top priority trade policy, which aims to introduce Pakistan's traditional and non-traditional export sectors and local products in the international trade market. PCB chairman's election scheduled for 13 September. Election Commissioner of the Pakistan Cricket Board, Mr. Justice Comrade Sheikh Azmat Saeed, has called a special meeting of the Board of Governors on 13 September, at 1100, in Lahore to elect the 36th PCB chairman. The Election Commissioner made the decision in his first meeting at the Gaddafi Stadium on Friday afternoon, in which he also directed that notices of the special meeting be issued to the BOG members. Such notices have been issued. Earlier on Friday morning, PCB patron, Prime Minister Mr. Imran Khan, had nominated Mr. Asad Ali Khan and Mr. Ramiz Roja on the BOG for a 3-year term while exercising his powers under Clause 12(1) of the PCB Constitution. The other 5 members on the BOG are Mr. Azim Wajid Jawad, Miss Alia Zafar, Mr. Arif Saeed and Mr. Jave Qureshi, all independent members, and Mr. Wazim Khan, Chief Executive. Interior Minister meets CM, discuss political, law and order situation. Interior Minister Sheikh Rashid Ahmad on Friday met with Punjab Chief Minister Sadar Usman Buzdar at his office to discuss the political as well as law and order situation. Sheikh Rashid said the government had played a positive role in the Afghanistan situation. This said the government was more strengthened than before, and the credibility of the opposition parties had been fully eroded. The Punjab government was solving the problems of the Rawalpindi residents, and the steps taken by the government to solve public issues were praiseworthy, he added. Talking on the occasion, the CM maintained that the country was going through a sensitive phase and emphasized that the nation needed unity more than ever due to the rapidly changing situation in the region. The opposition parties were engaged in negative politics, he regretted, adding that these people had no interest in the problems of the people. The negative attitude and the anarchistic politics was detrimental to national unity, and the elements engaged in working against the national interest would have to be stopped with the power of unity. The CM asserted that the growing economy would not succumb to the negative politics of the corrupt cabal, and the Punjab government would ensure the implementation of the law by taking necessary measures. Thanks for watching NEWSi 24/7. For more news, visit our website on www.newsi247.tv or follow us on Twitter, YouTube and Facebook.